Hi, thank you for joining me today. Today is day 2 of the 12 days of Christmas, and today I'm going to be bringing you a layout that I'm kind of inspired by several different layouts that I've seen on Pinterest where people have used the tall trees. So I'm going to go ahead and use some buffalo plaid paper, some kind of a rusticy red, and then green and red holly paper as my tall trees. Now, in order for me to get the tall triangle, what I do is I find the center point of my square, and then I cut from the center top to each of the corners at a diagonal, and that gets a perfect tree. And then all I'm doing is placing the paper up next to the existing tree and kind of folding the paper just to get an idea of the height. Most of these papers came out of my scraps, so I didn't have to cut up new pieces of paper. So it's a good way of using up some of your stash. So I've gone with the buffalo plaid, more of a solid red, and now I'm going to grab the scrap of holly paper, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same technique where I'm going to find the center point at the top, mark it off, and then cut on the diagonal to the corner on the lefty and the right. And I like how those look, just there, the 3 trees clustered in the corner. So then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and take the branding strip off this background piece of paper. And because of the text print, I want to kind of bring it all together and back in. So what I'm going to do is mat everything onto this black cardstock. So I'm taking a little bit off of each of the sides, and then I'm going to gut the paper so I have a 1-inch frame. And then I'll use the center part of this cardstock to back my 3 trees. So here I'm just going ahead and taking my ATG, going around the 4 sides of my paper, and then centering it onto that. And so now and you can even tell there that it brings the paper in and it gives it an edge so it doesn't look like it's falling off. And so now I'm just going ahead and gluing these 3 trees down, and then I'm just going to hand cut them out of the paper, just giving it a little bit of a black border. And this just helps them stand off just a little bit off of the paper, and it's a nice finishing touch. So I like how those look, so I'm going to go ahead and glue those down right away. I don't like having to mess around with things shifting, so I'm one of those that will kind of stick and plunk. I don't want to go and get it all laid out and then try and finagle it to try and get it glued down again. So it's just easier for me when I have a big element and I know nothing's going to be tucked underneath it to just go ahead and glue it down. Now I am leaving it up just a little bit because what I've decided I'm going to do is take this scrap of paper that has presents on it, and I'm going to fussy cut out several presents, and I'm going to line the bottom of the 3 trees with all of these different presents. So I'm not going to make you watch all of it. I'm going to cut it off and then come back. And then what I'm going to do is, after I get these all cut out, I am going to go and glue some down flat, and then I will pop others up with some foam tape just to give it a little bit of dimension. So with the power of the editing tool, voila, we have all the presents done, and now I'm just going through and gluing a few of them down. And like I said, I will then take a little bit of foam tape and pop them up and just keep going across the page. Now when I get to the end, I do find that I need another one, so I will fussy cut another one out. And then what I'm also going to fussy cut out is there's 2 little bunches of holly, and I'm going to cut those out as well. and I'm going to tuck them in behind the presents and into the trees. I love using paper as an embellishment. I think it's an economical way of stretching your stash. And, and so if you can find paper that you can fussy cut out and use, it's a great way to stretch. And, a piece of paper costs you maybe $1. So to be able to get all these embellishments out of it, I think is a good bang for your buck. So here's where I'm getting those pieces of holly and putting them in. And there we go. And I'm just going to clean up my mess a little bit. So then the other thing I had was this scrap with the banners on it, and I really love the banner look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut these banners out, and again, by the power of magic, that's done. And I'm just going to run these behind the trees up above, so you still see the header of the newsprint, but the banner's going to tuck below. And it kind of reminds me of like if you were buying trees from your local, the fresh tree where they hang the lights and the banners. It kind of reminds me of that, like a tree lot. And I like that, kind of just adds a little bit more pop. So I'm going to take the other side of that banner paper had this green and red plaid. I'm going to use that to back my photo. And then I'm going to go in my stash, and I do have some just craft colored doilies, and I'm going to throw a doily behind it. And that's the main layout. So I'm going to glue the picture and the doily down, and then I'm just going to start embellishing. And the first thing I decide that I want to use is this bow. I really want to get some of these used up. I've had them for a couple years now, so it's time to get them on some layouts. And I was looking at that tag that was the tree, but it was just too big. So this was a cut apart that was behind one of the pieces of paper that I threw to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut out this deer head. And I'm going to place that to the side of the picture. I tried a couple different spots first, but I ended up liking it on the right-hand side of the picture a little bit better. I liked it on top of that craft doily. So then what I ended up doing is taking just a craft colored tag from my stash. I'm going to glue it down, and then I'm going to try and fussy cut the edge, and I do a very poor job of trimming it up. And so then I was like thinking I needed to have some of the black border, so I try and trim a little bit more, and it looks pathetic. And then the light bulb went on, and I realized I could take the tag out and turn it upside down and take the ATG off, and then I flip it, and voila, the jagged edge is gone. And it's saved. So I go ahead and glue that down. I like how that looks. And I'm going to go ahead and glue the bow underneath, like a bow tie on the deer. And then I found some brads, and so I take 3 of the brads, and I'm going to put one by the deer, one at the bottom by the tree in the center, and then another one to the left. And I just have a little pokey tool that I use, and then I will cover the back of the brads with washi tape later. So I looked at these puffy stickers, and I really didn't like anything that was on there that I thought would go. So then I go ahead and take these Simple Story stickers, and I pick out 2 of the stickers. I think one says Our Tree, and the other one says Decking the Halls. And then there was on another sheet, there was like these strips that was different colors. So I add a few of those below the reindeer and just kind of extend the Christmas tree the pattern going across the bottom. Then I take this square of Santa Claus or Saint Nick, and then I'm going to take another square, cut it in half, and kind of layer it behind that, so I get a little poke of the red behind the Santa. And then the last I grab it's a checked border strip, and they're just the little tiny ones. Then I go through my stash and I find a few different enamel dots. I settle for the black ones, and I'm just going to put some in each of the corners. And for a final touch, I'm just going to take some gold Heidi Swap Color Shine, and I'm going to sprinkle it in 3 different sections. So that is my layout. I hope you enjoyed it today. Look in the link below for the next person on the YouTube hop, and join us again tomorrow for day 3 of 12 Days of Christmas. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button, and you have a great day.